KINTEX for the World Hydrogen Expo 2025. I'm joined here for an interview with the editor-in-chief Leo from Le Café du Geek and the editor-in-chief from H2Mobile, Michael. How are you guys doing today?
Very good. Thank you very much for hosting us.
Good to see you both again.
This year again.
Exactly again, right? Can you guys please introduce yourselves and your publication one more time?
So I'm Leo from, we're both from France, but from the high-tech, consumer high-tech media, Le Café du Geek. We also cover innovation, startup, mobility in general. So we focus more on the consumer aspect of hydrogen, how it's going to change people's life, maybe in the daily life, because a lot of aspects in industry is going to change for them. And yeah, it's been third time.
Third time here, right?
Yeah,
it's our third time here at this exhibition.
So I missed last year.
From the consumer's point of view,
yes,
is more what you're focusing on.
Exactly.
Wonderful. And Michael, what about you?
My name is Michael. I work for H2Mobile as editor-in-chief. So H2Mobile is specialized in the field of hydrogen mobility.
Okay.
So we speak also about energy, but it's more about mobility. So from passenger cars to bus and trucks and trains too.
Wonderful. This is going to make for a very interesting interview then. Both of you you're covering from a similar market, similar areas, but from almost different points of view about what exactly you're looking for and what you're reporting on. My first question, either of you can answer this, is as France leads Europe into hydrogen mobility, where do you see the strongest synergy with Korean hydrogen mobility technologies? As I think about it, I think, Michael, this is a question for you.
Yes, that's for me. Why France has long been seen as a leader in hydrogen mobility field, but the market is currently facing a challenging period, you know.
Okay.
Because this year, at the beginning of the year, HYVIA, the joint venture between Renault and Plug, has interrupted the commercialization of the vehicles, and Stellantis during the summer also stopped hydrogen mobility. So it's a really challenging period, but in this context, the Korean technologies, I think about Hyundai, with passenger cars, trucks, bus, can help Europe to have hydrogen vehicles, because right now it's a little bit difficult for the European market. Okay,
so at first there was a lot of hype around the hydrogen mobility market two or three years ago, I remember, right?
Yes.
So the hype has cooled down a little bit. However, there are some major players like Hyundai who are developing hydrogen vehicles, and perhaps it could either make a rebound or it just needs some more policy around it.
That's why we need some manufacturer like Hyundai want to improve the technology and to launch some products in Europe, yes.
Okay. What global impact do you believe France's commercialization of hydrogen trucks and trains will have? We might want to take a step back with this one, right?
Yes, yes. Once again, we are in the challenging period, you know. We speak about the hype is finished for hydrogen.
Okay.
The down, maybe. I think it will be wise in 3 years, but in this context, some actor like Alstom, French train manufacturer, choose to not to stop, but to lower their ambition on hydrogen train.
Okay.
But they still continuing to make some projects.
Okay.
In France, there will be hydrogen train in the next years, but now they decide to stop. And in the truck field, there is some company like Ilico, who work to retrofit. Donc you take a diesel truck and transform it in hydrogen with a fuel cell and a hydrogen tank.
So it's not necessarily a full stop. There's a step back.
Yes.
There's a different way to approach it. The technology still needs to be proven. There needs to be things like public acceptance, more investing, and more adaptability. And I heard rules and regulations are still pretty lacking.
Yes.
So once this comes back into play, perhaps we'll see a more rapid development of hydrogen mobility, correct?
Yes, we need some regulations, we need some government funding, you know, because as we see in Europe, in France, we don't have subsidies. We can maybe some project, but not global subsidy like in Germany. So we need to have some funding to accelerate hydrogen mobility in France, sure.
Okay. My next question is, as Korea expands its hydrogen refueling infrastructure, how could its experience support the French and broader European markets?
Yes. So in Korea, the infrastructure is really different from France. You have a lot of hydrogen stations for passenger car.
Okay.
In France and Europe, it's now moving not for light vehicles, but heavy vehicles.
Okay.
So there is less hydrogen stations,
Mm-hmm.
but the station will be located near the users.
Okay.
So near company trucks,
Sure.
etc., etc. So it's not the same configuration of hydrogen mobility in Korea. But I think Korea has some advance in some film, like usage of liquid hydrogen for the storage in the stations. No, it's not. We don't do that again in France.
So, but perhaps, you know, with different approaches to hydrogen, how it can be used, light vehicles, heavy vehicles, automobiles, the shipping industry and all this, perhaps it just comes down to each country kind of finding their niche in hydrogen, developing the technology, and eventually it kind of being like my last interview, I compared it to like pieces of a puzzle. Maybe
Yes.
everyone needs to kind of develop their piece first so the puzzle can be put together
Yes,
and we
yes.
can all start to work together.
But the piece need to advance in the similar time, you know.
Right.
Sometimes one piece is more advanced.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's the difficulty, you know.
Someone has to put the first piece down, right, in order to start the puzzle in the first place.
But we need to have some cooperation
Okay.
between station manufacturers, truck manufacturers, governments and local authorities who can also help the hydrogen mobility. But right now it's not. The cooperation could be improved. I think.
So it needs, the industry as a whole needs more cooperation and collaboration.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's needed with the regulation and cooperation.
No, it's some really interesting insight. My whole view of this hydrogen industry right now, even as an international reporter being based out of Korea, seeing all the technology being rapidly developed here and kind of the strengths and weaknesses of the market here, hearing your insight from the French point of view about how it's developing in Europe is really interesting, and hopefully we'll start to spur more conversation and get the industry moving forward. My fourth question is, as eco-friendly mobility adoption grows, how do you see French consumer perceptions toward hydrogen mobility evolving? I think this is a perfect question for you, Leo.
True, especially on the consumer side. As we just heard just before, like the consumer perception is changing a little bit right now because different aspects, mostly because we are seeing more and more evolutions and real impacts on hydrogen in general. We hear more about new projects, trucks, mobility, even some projects on airplane, also some project here, but also heard in France about hydrogen boats.
Yep.
Like fuel cell for boat, but also motor engine for boats, for
Sure.
yachts. So there's a lot of new trends and innovation that is coming to the general market for the hydrogen. And also we hear a lot about it's safer, it's more reliable now, and it's easier to use, and it's kind of the future. But at the same time, a lot of recent projects just stopped. And so we are in this phase where we see good, but also we see bad, and we don't really know where it's going. But there's also one big aspect on consumer perception in France is we don't plan to have any consumer using hydrogen.
Okay. So
So-
it's more B2G.
Yeah, B2B, B2G.
B2G.
Like we have cars in France driving on hydrogen, but it's one taxi company in Paris only because there's only 2 refuel stations. We have this issue in France, we don't have many refuel stations.
Right.
We think it's kind of dangerous to
Okay.
use by yourself.
Sure.
Like unlike gasoline, which is like not very dangerous, but still there's like some accidents.
Right, of course.
Hydrogen is very dangerous when you use like liquid hydrogen to refuel a car. So we don't want any non-trained people to use. So it's only going to be for bus, for trucks, for maybe train, but I don't know. Or that maybe you can fit more about train. But
I mean, do you think this idea of safety, is it, as you said, it's not just an idea of safety, it is a safety issue. Do you think these are issues that eventually can be solved and public perception can change as the hydrogen industry expands? Or do you see, at least in Europe and France, do you see for the foreseeable future that hydrogen is mostly going to be applied to B2B and B2G?
I think for the next 5 years, definitely no consumer is going to use hydrogen
Okay.
in the daily life. Depending on the innovation breakthrough we see in the next 10 years, maybe it's going to be like LPG. LPG in English, like natural
Yeah,
gas.
right here.
car.
Yeah.
We have some car using it,
Okay.
but it's kind of stopped because it's not as cheap as we thought. But maybe if we have some breakthrough on either safety, maybe you just switch the cell, or maybe on solid hydrogen.
Okay.
Maybe there will be a change, but I don't see one for the consumer in the close future.
In the near future.
Yeah, in the very near future.
Okay. What significance do you believe World Hydrogen Expo 2025 holds as a cooperation platform for France's hydrogen mobility industry and global partners?
So the World Hydrogen Expo arrived like as a perfect timing. It's arrived at the moment where we have a lot of prototype of many technology that arrive on the market. We start seeing like real use of hydrogen in real life, mostly for non-consumer parts.
Right.
And also we see the decline in France is starting, so we need to see a new hope coming up and telling us that we still need to invest in hydrogen because it's not dead. It's just we are arriving on a plateau and
Sure, it's leveling out,
yes,
right?
Yeah. So we have made the research, we have the technology, we didn't make anything much from it, and we need to grow on that. So we need cooperation. In France, we have also like a big hydrogen conference, Hyvolution, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
End of January. Yes.
And so it's also show that in France we're interested in hydrogen, and we need to see innovation coming up in France, in Korea. We need to see cooperation between the two to grow in the global sphere, more projects and a better future around hydrogen. So I think the show is great. We have been there 3 times in 4 years.
Right.
It's been 3 times in 3 years.
Okay.
3 or 4 times?
4 times.
4 times, there we go.
Yeah, more than me. And I think this show needs to continue to exist. It's changing every year, it's becoming bigger, smaller, more focused on some different aspects. And I think the show needs to stay there to show the world and show us and show Europe how much hydrogen is still important for everyone.
Sure, so I mean, it's not so much about the size of the exhibition itself, but showing that the industry as a whole is moving forward and the research, the design, development, the policy making, the infrastructure is still happening, and that perhaps, you know, in Europe, say if it slows down for a sec, you come to Asia, you see some rising technology, say the policy, from what I've been hearing, policy making regulation is lacking here in Korea. Perhaps, you know, Korea or Asia goes to a European exhibition, they see some policy being made. So it's all about working together and kind of with hope moving towards the future of hydrogen.
Yeah. Hydrogen is a global project, I think. More than like one country is leading. It's like a global project. Everyone needs to invest in this project, so it's a global result at the end.
That's a tagline built in. Hydrogen is a global project.
Yeah.
I think we should all be marketing like that. Do you have anything to add to our interview, Michael?
There is a lot of pieces to move, but what we don't understood is that hydrogen ecosystem have time. We need some time to construct. If you make the parallel with LNG, it was made 10, 20 or 30 years. So hydrogen cannot move in 5 years.
Okay.
Not possible. So we have to take some time, and we need cooperation.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much for your insight, for being here for the interview today. And I'm sure I'll see you next year for the 5th World Hydrogen, or the 2nd World Hydrogen Exhibition, but the 5th major one going on here in Korea. And I'm sure I'll see you next year as well, Leo. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you very much.
I really
See you next
appreciate it.
year.
Thank you. Thank you.